Hi, Elton from Thinkivity, back again with Val Glazing AI. We've been having some fascinating talks about AI, our passion. If you've watched any of the other videos, you'll have realized is glazing sector. But a lot of what we talk about is sort of generally applicable anyway. So hopefully you've got some time to spend with us today because we're going to talk about some of the biggest myths around AI. AI is it's still new, isn't it? I mean, we're seeing it everywhere, but it's still new, and therefore there's a lot of conception about it. A lot of misunderstanding. So let's try and have a look at some of those big myths. One of the ones I see certainly in business is this whole thing about, is it just for big corporations? Can small businesses use it, and so on? What would you say to that one, Val?
It depends on your tasks and what would you like to do. If you would like just to use some marketing tools, it can be even free because you can ask ChatGPT. You can use even free versions of. You don't need even to buy paid version of ChatGPT or whatever uh, chatbot you would like to use. It's for many cases, it's enough. A free version is enough to make a lot of texting, a lot of pictures. It just if you're a big agency, then yeah, maybe you need it. Also, if you would like to run more business focused applications that need a lot of processing, and some glass companies they may need this, then it can be more expensive because first of all, probably you would like to have all data in processed in house. You don't want to give them to ChatGPT or whatever chatbot you use. Yes, OpenAI can they guarantee that your data when you have enterprise package, your data won't be used for training their models, and it looks like they're safe. But some people like they don't want to leave the data somewhere, and they would like to process it in house. So these kind of applications they can cost much more. It can be 50, 60,000 that you need hardware only for this. But recent advancements, for example, from NVIDIA, they made it much more affordable. Currently, they are going to make a small computer, it's just box like this, and it's specially for AI models with NVIDIA chips, and it costs $3,000, and it can run very large models, very large one. Two computers like this, it will be $6,000, can run the largest model from Llama from Meta AI. So it's 405 terabytes. So yeah, billion parameters it can run. So it's
So I
it's
guess
huge.
for people listening now, essentially, it's that, what do you want to do with it? If you are just a small business
Mhm.
doing some small tasks, then it's for you. If you're a big business and you want it to do big things, it's for you. Um, I kind of think I've always seen this from a marketing point of view where people think that if you're the big corporation, you've suddenly got some big advantage over the SME. And that's the usual, and David and Goliath, all that sort of stuff. I actually think both sizes of business have different opportunities. I think the large corporations, it takes a lot longer to get things put into their business. And one thing that I'm learning with AI is you need to be nimble. We need to move, and we need to be able to change. If I look at automations, if you'd have asked me a few months ago, no, let's go back even further. If you'd have said a year ago, everything was Zapier. If you'd have
Mhm.
asked me a few months ago, probably make.com.
Yeah.
Ask me now, NA10,
Mhm.
because it's changing so much. So actually, that really favors the small business, not the large business. because for large businesses thinking about things on a bigger scale, so what they're about to put in is naturally bigger. Whereas with the small business, actually they can afford to be more nimble. What I really like about a lot of AI is it's democratizing things, so that everybody's got access to it. Because if we imagine now that the only way to use this AI was to actually buy these units from NVIDIA, well, just one of them at $3,000 to any decent sized company is really not big. They've probably
Mhm.
got a handful of people in the business who could just put that on their expenses. In a small business, that's big. So all of a sudden, there is a barrier to entry. Not a huge one, but there is a barrier to entry. But of course, where we've got everything now, software as a service, of course, is the norm. So we rent this stuff rather than buying it typically. That means, and especially with some of the levels that you were talking about where it's free to use, but whether it's free or paid, actually, even the paid stuff, it's really not that expensive if you're not using a lot of it. So I think there's use cases and pricing that matches both small and large businesses to me. So I would say, hey, it's for both. But then, of course, do we need to be tech savvy to use it? What do you think to that?
Also, it depends on tools and how you apply them. So if you need to train your LLM, which is large language model, you may need, yes, you need to know, for example, Python. It's still not that complicated. You can learn it, and you don't need to be very very hard coding guy, so. But still, you need to have people who can apply it. But there are some tools today. There is such a kind of notion, no code tools. This is,
Yeah.
for example, when you make websites without any coding. For example, I learned HTML, but I will be frank with you. No, but people use HTML. But if you don't have some special website, you can use WordPress or whatever system, just Wix or Elementor, and you can build your website without any coding. Or maybe just sometimes that you need to use it, but almost never in many cases.
Yeah.
The same with AI tools. There are some AI tools that you can, for example, AI chatbots. You can train them. You can provide them data, and they will learn this data themselves. You don't need to build special model for them to learn your data. It's just pre-trained. It's just that you need to use specific model that is appropriate for this task. For example, when you would like in software, when you would like to make some images, you use Photoshop. You don't use Outlook or Excel. And when you have a lot of numbers, you don't feed them to Photoshop. The same with AI. If you have a proper AI model, it will do whatever you need to do. Sometimes you need to hard not code, but yes, like to hard prepare it. Like to make it learn your system, or maybe you need to build a new model. It's
Mm.
like build a new software, that you come to software developers and you say that, okay, I have Photoshop, but I need a little bit different. I would like my customers to be able to draw a window in my website. So this will be a little bit different kind of Photoshop,
Mm.
the same with LLM models. Maybe if you need it special, you need to be tech savvy. You can hire people and they can make it for you. But frankly speaking, a lot of these tools will be no code and very easy to use. Like today, AI, a lot of AI tools are easy to use.
Yeah, I think no code is, and I'm talking from somebody who sort of, through that marketing experience, I've developed websites and then used WordPress and seen that whole sort of journey. So it'd be unfair to say that you don't need to be tech savvy just because I've got those experiences. I'm very mindful of that. But actually, the level that no code systems are at now is very good. Are they perfect yet? No, absolutely not. but they are very good and they're getting better all the time. So quite often now I will, even again, if I want to write some, well, to be fair, even simple bits of code, I'll just get ChatGPT to do it for me. So I think the tech savvy skill is actually getting used to asking your AI assistant for everything first. And then if it doesn't come up with the answer, then find another way. But if you use AI, if you become AI first, you'll be shocked at exactly what it can do. So in a training session with another installer, I said, okay, well, let's actually find a job that you do right now, risk assessments. So health and safety risk assessments. I said, well, let's ask our AI whether it can do it. So I said, okay, we're going into a school. There are children in the classrooms next to the classroom where we're changing the window. It's on the ground floor, but we need scaffold because of the height. We need a tower basically because of the height. And I described the job and what we needed to do, and it wrote the entire risk assessment. I then said, is there a standard format for risk assessments in the UK? Yes, there is. It's this, and it explained it. I said, create that risk assessment, but put it into that format. So immediately there was no code involved, and yet I'd essentially created a program that generated risk assessments. No code, just a natural language talking. You'd be shocked at what it could do if you just start to use it as AI first and just start with the assumption it can do it. And every so often you'll find there are things that it can't do, but if you start with that assumption, you'll get into doing it. So therefore, with all of that, does it mean we're going to lose the human touch? I know that's definitely one of these things people are worried about. So I'd put that up there as one of our myths. So what do you think, Val?
You see, where we need a human touch, we won't lose it, because basically we will have the opposite effect. Because I wrote an article about this recently, a couple of months ago, and I told that my main path of thoughts is that will we have a lot of flood of AI content? Yes, we will have, definitely. Will it be quite authentic and good one? No, maybe some of them will be, but a lot of it will be quite generic and nothing special. So will we value more authentic content from some people who make really good content? Yes, we will value that content much more. So those content creators, whatever it is, pictures or music, they will benefit even from this flood, because anyways we will want to have paintings or pictures that are made by real painters. We still value them. I can print them whatever you want. Now with ChatGPT we can do whatever you want, but still we value those kind of content pieces or masterpieces sometimes. And anyways, where we need human touch, we will value it and we will need it. When we don't need it, for example, frankly speaking, I don't need my email to be printed and delivered by hand. I don't need it. I don't need that human touch. It's fine. It's okay. So the same with email. For example, if I want to make email and I just would like to, I can ask my Copilot, let's say, assistant, please make email for John Smith. Yes, this one. Please attach file. Yes, this one. And write him, hi, how are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And yes, if I would like to make a human touch, I will do it personally. But if it's just listening, okay, I like this marketing strategy for next year. I can ask AI assistant just to say that, yes, please confirm, say hi, how are you doing, and confirm that it's good. That's it. And maybe John Smith doesn't need also that human touch that I make it here.
Well, I think I think you've hit the key. It's about when we need for human touch. Some of the things we do, we just need to happen.
Yeah.
Other things, we want the human touch. I was asked this question about, so could AI just completely automate my social media? Yes and no. You've got to understand the first word of social media, social. So could I automate posting to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc.? Yes,
Completely.
of course. Yeah, completely. Yep. And would it be quality content? Yeah, I'd argue I'd say if you get the prompts correct, it would be quality content, but that's very different to human content.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key. It's not social if it's just automated. That's the point. So even like with Thinkivity, we've got I do daily tips going out on Instagram. And other than the human in the loop parts, for anybody who didn't watch the episode when we were talking about human in the loop, it's important that we have these check places. So other than human in the loop points, the whole thing is automated in terms of creator mate creates the videos, etc., because they are literally just they're just designed first thing on a morning to spark a new idea. They are fit for purpose. However, we could have used Synthesia, and we could have created all of this could have been staged. We could have had an avatar of you and I and just given ChatGPT the content, fed it into Synthesia, which is linked to 11 labs and all these cool tools. But actually that's not human and that's not social, and therefore it just wouldn't have worked. When you want the interaction that we're having and for people to be able to share with us our conversation, you can't do that through AI. Now, we could ask AI, what are the things that people are concerned about? Yes. Yeah, we could do that. But we can't have this conversation as AI avatars and provide the same human connection. So I think we need to separate the difference between quality and human, because I think AI is getting to the point where it can produce some very, very high quality content, but that doesn't make it human, and therefore it doesn't replace the human touch. It just gives us quality content, you know. So I don't think I completely agree that we won't lose the human touch. In fact, potentially we'll want it more because we'll get this flood of the non-human stuff. So that's fascinating. I think we've already touched on it before, but one of the sort of questions that people have, and the sort of the misconception is AI expensive? And I think we spoke a little bit about that at the beginning when we were looking at the size of business. But what are your thoughts on whether it's expensive or not, Val?
It's not expensive. In many cases, for many people, it's just free. You just go to different chatbots, different image creation tools, and it's not expensive. And even for big businesses, if they would like to run those LLMs, it's for them. Like if we talk about several $1,000s for companies that it has revenue, maybe 1 to several millions. Maybe it's not expensive at all. I would say that it's even like very, very cheap
Yeah.
or free.
I'd say the same, and I think it scales with your needs of it. That's the thing. It
Yeah,
scales with what you want, and therefore, any amount of money that you spend on it, you would very quickly be saving that in efficiency. So therefore, actually, I can't see many situations where it could be considered expensive, because it's not expensive in terms of the actual amount of money, and you're going to be getting it back in efficiency. Um, So that's a good note to end this one on. That it's not expensive. You're going to be getting it all back. Don't worry, we're not going to lose the sort of the humanness of it, and you don't need to be too tech savvy. And it works for small or large businesses. So hopefully, quite a positive one. This one. If you've not managed already to see some of the other videos, do go check them out. You'll see that I love talking with Val. I think we share a lot of similar sort of views, but also it's just the way Val puts it across as well that I do like. So thanks for staying with us and watching the video, and come back to us again. Obviously, let's interact on socials as well. Val, thanks once again.
Yeah, thank you very much. See you.